Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, to Renee Boxing, a platform where we simply discuss, critique, and analyze, and simply talk about the sport of boxing in a level-headed, mature, coherent fashion. Definitely, you know how we do it here, man. Subscribers since day one, recent subscribers, I appreciate each and every one of you, definitely, man. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the Flash Lives. We just had a wonderful, 2022 Flash Live. I'm saying, great stuff. I just had a ball, man. Chopping it up with each and every one of you, definitely. You guys make the live sessions. Kings and queens, organic lives, definitely. You know what that means. Hey, Playback family, salute. Thank you guys so much. If you're new, if you love the sport of boxing, this is definitely the place for you. It's as simple as that. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when I push, premieres such as this right now. And go live, do my flash lives, etc., etc. Thank you guys so much, man. We keep it simple here. We just love boxing. I want to talk about a couple things. I was contemplating going live, but I really don't have the time to do it today. But I want to, kind of like mix two topics in one, as you can see in the thumbnail here. You got Keith Thurman, yeah! Keith Thurman and Demetrius Andrade. Now, I got to start like this, you know what I'm saying? Like, for the... both of these guys kind of have disappointed me throughout, the years. And years plural, unfortunately, but in different ways, However, I do appreciate what they do. They're fighters, what they have done in the ring, I definitely appreciate. Everybody knows the story, and it's interesting because the live session we just had, the last live session I had, with the family, we talked about the welterweight division, talking about, projections of 2022, right? And it's funny because it's just a trip how things happen, I didn't even know Keith Thurman had a virtual press conference, okay? I had no idea, And for me, virtual press conferences are boring, okay? I just don't watch them. They're boring for me, man. Virtual press conferences, it looks like a business meeting, and it's boring for me. I'm that's just me, okay? I don't tune into those. But I didn't know he had one. And it's interesting because we just went live and talked about, when we talked about Keith and talking about the welterweight division, things like that. And it's necessary to talk about Keith. I give him his due respect because he's coming back to fight. So we definitely have to consider him now in the welterweight division. And it's interesting because what we're going to talk about today in this video, that there's a similarity between Keith and Andrade. News recently coming out from Eddie Hearn, definitely, concerning Demetrius Andrade. And there's a similarity to a certain degree between Keith and Andrade, which I'm going to break down today, okay? But it's funny that, in the live session we just had about 2022 projections and fights and events and things of that nature, I talked about Keith Thurman, how, and I didn't even know, he mentioned this, that, he's talking about fighting 3 times in 2022, and I didn't even know that he said that. And I mentioned that, and I said, you know what? I don't see Keith Thurman, fighting 3 times next year. This year. I'm gonna say this year now in 2022 because, it's around the corner. I'm recording this video like a day before, 2 days before, whatever, before 2022. So I'm just gonna start saying, this year. So Keith plans to fight 3 times this year. So let's get right into it, man. I'm gonna show you some stuff, everything that we're gonna see today, links in the description. So definitely, man. And if you guys hear my dogs barking in the background, they're just having a dog life. You already know, man. So may I say this first, before we even start, just so people won't get it twisted, okay? For new subscribers, what have you, new listeners, constantly getting new listeners, Keith, what he has done in the welterweight division when he was active, okay, that's the thing there. I got to start with this, and this is one of the reasons why I have been disappointed in Keith Thurman, and I think we all know it's not a secret. His inactivity, right? But when he was active, he was one of my favorite welterweights when he was active. Fighting all the talk. There was really nothing to criticize about Keith Thurman at that time. Definitely not. Just like right now, times change, ladies and gentlemen. Times change. Prospects become contenders, become champs, We're seeing that right now, and I've been saying this for a minute, how the welterweight division, there's going to be some changes. Just as I have been saying for a minute, we're going to see soon changes in the heavyweight division. Y'all check those videos out. They're on my channel. But, at the time Keith Thurman was, active in the sport, I loved it. He was one of my favorites. How he fights, his style, etc., etc. High IQ fighter. And not only that, but, his ringside commentary is amazing. I've said it several times when it comes to Keith Thurman talk. I really like hearing him, listening to him as ringside commentator. Very intelligent guy. I liked hearing him, in interviews when he was active, just the whole nine, man. But all these setbacks just really disappointed me, and I just, this is said constantly in boxing circles and groups or whatever. Fans are fickle. I gotta make this clear, and it's true though. It's true to a certain degree. When somebody, like in this case a fighter, right, is not delivering and they're not fighting and they're not active, that's one of the things I gotta make this clear. And it's no disrespect to Keith when he was active. One of my favorites and freaking amazing fighter, man. Just awesome, But the whole inactivity stuff, it really disappointed me, man. And many times he talked about coming back, get back here. I understand, though. I get it, man, that there were situations out of his hands, right? The injuries, stuff like that. So, but still, I want to see fighters active. That's one of my pet peeves, man, in the sport of boxing. And I've said it so much, and I've been vocal about it constantly, about fighters not being active. If a fighter's not delivering and being active, I kind of set them aside as far as what I talk about, because it's only fair. It's only fair. Why am I going to talk about a fighter time and time again when they're not active and they're not fighting? I'm not going to talk about that much, you know what I'm saying? And you can even check my channel out. I really don't talk about Keith Thurman. The only reason I'm talking about him now is because it looks like he's coming back and he's actually being vocal about fighting now, hold on a second. I got to say this too. Just, things come to mind. Like I said, y'all know me. I don't take notes or anything. It's just, I have my bullet points in my mind. I take mental notes and, just more things pop up while I'm speaking. Ever since Canelo, man, did the whole, and I know, yeah, Canelo, but hey, we got to respect what he's doing, as far as he's being active more than all these other guys. And you got some prospects, though, also, and contenders or what have you. They're also being active, too. But, when it comes to championship level, you really don't see fighters active. It's sad, but it's true, okay? Let's just be factual. Come on now. Ever since Canelo said that, and he actually accomplished it, fighting 4 times within 11 months or whatever, getting undisputed. Adrian Broner talked about fighting 3 times whatever year, and now Keith Thurman's talking about it. You have several fighters out there that started being vocal and saying the same thing. So, it's just interesting, right? But, Keith Thurman talking about being active, 2022, 3 times this year, I take it with a grain of salt, man. I'm just going to be honest about it, okay? But let's check out what he has to say. And let me just say this one more time. That's one of my pet peeves, man. A fighter who is inactive and not delivering, it's just fair to not really talk about them. Because if you're not doing anything, you know what I'm saying? If they're being ringside commentary and stuff like that, I get it. But if they're constantly talking about, oh, I'll fight you and this and that, kind of like Ryan Garcia. Just another example. Kind of like Ryan Garcia also. I'm going to fight this guy, pushing posters, trying to market fantasy fights, and y'all know what I'm talking about. Just go back and check him out, Go back. Everybody knows. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then, I don't know. You just probably don't keep up too much on boxing, and I get it. That's fine. But Ryan Garcia pushing posters and, digital posters or whatever they call them, and, he's going to fight so-and-so, he's going to fight so-and-so, being ordered to fight so-and-so, and just pulling out, and that's not happening. Now he's talking about Ryan Garcia, Isaac Pitbull Cruz. He wants to fight him because now he's a big name, I guess. And now I don't get it, man. But that's the thing. That's what turns me off, ladies and gentlemen. Inactive fighters who blab their mouths off and just saying that they're gonna fight everybody and their mama. You know what I'm saying? Everybody in the it's just a per se. I don't like that, man. I just don't like that. It's kind of like I've said it metaphorically several times or whatever. If you go to a restaurant, it's your favorite restaurant for years, and they close or they start closing continually in the time that you usually go and eat dinner, it's your favorite time to go dinner twice a week, and they start closing at that time, then you're not gonna like that, and you're just gonna say, screw that, I'm gonna go somewhere else now. You see, it's the same thing, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what I try to address. It's not necessarily me being fickle, it's just me being realistic, and we got to move on. We're not gonna, I'm not gonna be sitting waiting for freaking years for a fighter to come back if they're not coming back and they're just blabbing their mouths off. Actions speak louder than words. Come on now. Anyways, but hey, I got to make it clear though. Keith Thurman, when he was a welterweight active, he was one of my favorites. Here we go. Like I said, boxingscene.com, everything that we're going to see, links in the description, yada, 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 right? Okay, so Here's your boy. No, I'm just kidding, man. Keith, one-time Thurman, okay? I have all the admiration to perform 3 fights this year in 2022 to make up for lost time. Let's just read a little bit in this article. Like I said, link in the description. You can check it all out, right? It says here, Keith Thurman is not only eager to resume his career, but also return to an activity rate that preceded his lengthy title run. I really hope so. Quote, I'm looking forward to this return. It's been a long time coming. Okay, so like I said, this was a virtual press. I had no idea they had a virtual press. Whatever. So February 5 is the date. 5th is the date. It's not really what I wanted, but this is what life has given me. There was a little bit of pushback. Okay, then he says here, now we're gonna get that ball rolling, and I have all the admiration to perform 3 fights in 2022. If I can do it, to make up for lost time. Okay, now we're gonna see something in a moment. It caught my eye. Okay, it caught my attention. Now all this yada 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 stuff about his layoffs and blah blah blah. Now check this out. I didn't know this. I really didn't know this. Look at this. This time around, it was the pandemic and the coronavirus itself that caused his latest career stall. I had no idea. Thurman hoped to return in the 4th quarter of 2021. I didn't know that. Only to come down with the infectious disease. I didn't even know he got freaking coronavirus. Sometime after being on site for Pacquiao's eventual 12-round loss to Ugas this past August. That was an exciting night. The last fight of Pacquiao's career. Vegas was lit. You know how Vegas can be. By the time I got home, here we go. By the time I got home, some way, somehow, I just got sick. Noted Thurman. I didn't make a big deal about it. It did set back what we were working for. We just had to push back everything and bounce back strong. Whoa. I had no idea. That's how much I don't really look out for Keith, or haven't looked out for Keith in a long time. The Josecito Lopez fight, Pacquiao fight, yeah, I was watching, I was checking it out, but I wasn't really too excited about all that, because I knew he was just gonna go out and disappear again. You know what I'm saying? So I had no idea. I mean, maybe you heard about it. I didn't. Did you? Please, comment there. And if you're tuning in real time, comment. I didn't know that. So that's just another setback. That's what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. That's exactly what, and I get it, man. Life happens. But for me, personally, I'm just going to speak for me, okay? It's kind of hard to believe him, man, because it's been so many injuries. It's been so many, just pushbacks, setbacks. Maybe it is just life doing this. But I don't think it's all that, If I'm not mistaken, one of the other reasons why, pushback, once again, several of his pushbacks or whatever, layoffs, is because he got married and stuff. I get it, but your personal life shouldn't always, interfere with your professional life, you know what I'm saying? But that's just another topic, all right? Yeah, but now he's saying that he was planning to come and fight in 2021, the last quarter, of 2021, but all of a sudden he got sick. I didn't even know he got coronavirus. Maybe you heard it, I don't know, but this is why, ladies and gentlemen, let's get it. This is why it's hard for me to believe that Keith is gonna fight 3 times this year. This year, I just don't know, ladies and gentlemen. 2022, 3 fights is it's a hard pill to swallow there. Now, like I just mentioned earlier at the beginning of this session, I went live, Keith, we started talking about the welterweight division and stuff like that, projections of the fights in 2022 this year. And I got to consider Keith. And I started talking about Keith because he's coming back. So, but, we were contemplating, we were talking, chopping it up with the chat, saying that, okay, so Keith is gonna fight Barrios. If he gets through Barrios, it's probable that Bud goes for Thurman. Who the heck knows, right? Because Bud, we really don't know what the heck he's gonna do. Even though he says things, sometimes he doesn't do it. Whatever. I know it's debatable, and if there are Bud fans out there, that's yeah. No, I'm not trying to attack Bud or nothing. He's a great fighter. But it's just, I just speak what it is. I try to be as realistic as possible, and we just chopped that up also in my live session. So, we really don't know, but Bud did express fighting Thurman, wanting to fight Thurman. So, if he were to do that, I personally think it's just too much for Thurman. Maybe an injury is going to come up, and it's funny because I got to reiterate this one more time that, in the live session, before I even knew that Keith Thurman had a virtual press conference, because I really don't even watch press conferences, and also I'm not really looking out too much for Keith Thurman, even though I'm going to watch definitely Keith Thurman versus Barrios, but I just don't really care about the press conferences and stuff. I don't really want to watch that stuff. Just in this case. That's just me, okay? And virtual press conferences, I reiterate one more time, they're freaking boring for me. I don't want to see that, okay? So, and I didn't know that Keith expressed wanted to fight 3 times this year, 2022. And it's funny because in my last session, I said that. I said, this schedule looks kind of, heavy. And I also explained in that context that Bud Crawford, I highly doubt he's going to fight twice in 2022. Because he, again, I reiterate, and it's just general for everybody. A lot of these champs, most of them, they're not fighting, they're just only fighting maximum twice a year. Maximum. And I think it's sad, but whatever. So this is why I take all this with a grain of salt, ladies and gentlemen. Who's to say he even wins? Who's to say he even wins, against Barrios? We don't know. Barrios can come in and freaking smash and surprise the world and bring an upset, whatever you want to call it, okay? And beat Keith. And if he doesn't beat Keith, and if it's a tough fight, 12 rounds, it's a big possibility, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I got injured, my hand again. I'm just going to retire now. Or I got injured, I got to take another 6 months off. It's just, it seems patterns. I've said it so many times, ladies and gentlemen, in different live sessions and different topics, but it intermeddles with this. It connects. Patterns, we can predict somebody who constantly does the same thing over and over and over again. It's based off of evidence and a baseline of how someone is constantly. That's why I see I don't think Keith is going to fight 3 times this year, man. That's just too much to ask for. That's too much to ask for. Now, may I give him the benefit of the doubt, okay? May I give me an opportunity, and I'm giving myself an opportunity to give Keith the benefit of the doubt. Because I did push a video recently. Shouts out to Blue Blood, man. Great content, you know what I'm saying? Always supporting me, you know what I'm saying? I rock with those who rock with me, and I don't care where they're from or, whatever. Family is family, and, family that supports me, you all in the chat, everybody who's been supporting me. I don't care where you're from and who you listen to. That's just me, okay? I ride in my own lane, and definitely I appreciate everybody who supports me. I pushed a video recently about, Blue Blood, and him having a quick, interview with, kind of an interview, right? They were walking around, they were going through, Keith Thurman was, responding to media or what have you. And I've forgotten what event it was, but, Blue Blood asked a wonderful question, man, and Keith just snapped, and he just went off. It was about the whole Tank Davis fiasco, that he possibly, if he would fight Tank, because Leonard Ellerbe was speaking, on social media, whatever. And Keith went off, man. And I pushed a video on that because it really caught my attention, man. And that's why I'm giving Keith the benefit of the doubt. I'm giving him a small benefit of the doubt, okay? Considering he might fight 3 times this year. Considering he might, but I don't, I take it with a grain of salt. However, what I saw in Keith's eyes and how he talked, man, in that content, that video that Blue Blood pushed, man, Keith went off. And if he has that type of fire that he had, and I think that was a taste of the fire and passion that he had when he was active in the sport. If Keith really fights like that and comes back this year, 2022, like that, I wouldn't doubt too much if he fights 3 times this year, that he fights 3 times this year. I hope he does. I hope he fights 3 times this year, because what we just explained and broke down in the last live session, about, 2022, I talked about how, it would make the welterweight division a lot more interesting. It would spice it up. It would mix things up, definitely, man, in the welterweight division. If Keith were to beat Barrios and turn around and Bud fights Thurman, that would be cool, But it's just hard to say, man. For me, I take it with a grain of salt. I really do take it with a grain of salt that Keith is going to come back and fight 3 times this year, maybe 2, and that's it. And he's just going to disappear again. That's just what I think because of his pattern, throughout the years. And I didn't know that at the end of 2021, he was planning to fight, and then he got sick all of a sudden, COVID. I understand, but, whatever, man. I just, I don't know, man. And if that's true, what he's saying, all these injuries and things that have happened to him, it's just, you know, they really happen. It's just life. I get it, man, but, you know, I'm just not interested too much in fighters that take so many layoffs and don't really fight. So that's just me, okay? But we'll see. What do you guys think? Do you think that Keith is going to fight 3 times this year? I take it with a grain of salt. Actions speak louder than words, and I got to see it with my own eyeballs. But for what it's worth right now, at least, you know, he's going to fight Barrios. So I'm definitely going to watch that. So it'll be good some stuff. So let's get to Demetrius Andrade. And how does this kind of connect? Demetrius Andrade, you know, the story here with him and news that's coming out with Keith Thurman. We're going to see right now. Now, first and foremost, let me say this. Now, what I just said at the beginning of the video, right? Demetrius Andrade, I've been disappointed in him, you know, as a fight fan. I'm no man fan. You know how I do it here. You know, I look at them all the same, you know what I'm saying? And I definitely respect them all, okay? But, you know, I mean, I esteem certain fighters more because of what they do and what they accomplish and who they fight. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I have been disappointed about concerning Demetrius Andrade. And that is why, you know, check my channel. I really don't talk about him either. Why have I been disappointed in Andrade? It's because of the opponents. Every freaking fighter, man, it seems like, you know, they all have, and that's just life, right? But there's always some kind of drama that follows fighters, you know what I'm saying? And in this case, with Demetrius Andrade, you know, years ago, he was going to fight Charlo and then pulled out in that week and this and that, and he re-signed to Matchroom or whatever he's, you know, contract under Hearn, I know that. You know, and just getting all these mediocre opponents, super mediocre, and according to Demetrius Andrade, levels, skills. Now let's get to the article. So here we go. It's Demetrius Andrade may head to 168 for bigger fights, says Hearn. Oh, so it's a may. He may head to 168. Yeah, sure, Hearn. Okay, thanks. So, you know, links in the description, like I said. So Demetrius Andrade may head to 168 for bigger fights, says Hearn. Okay, so we'll go scroll down just a tad here. Let's see what he's saying. He says, quote, Demetrius Andrade had a good year. Not the flagship fights that we want, of course, we know that, but nice and active. Great win against Quigley last time, said Hearn. He's got the mandatory against Janibek, however you pronounce that last name, all due respect. But we need a bigger fight than that, in all honesty. Exactly, and that has been the case for years, ladies and gentlemen. That's the sad part about Demetrius Andrade. Anyways, if we can't find it at middleweight, I think he'll move up to super middleweight and become mandatory there. At 160, and look at the names. If you scroll just a tad here, it says here, the 33-year-old Andrade has faced the likes of Jason Quigley, Liam Williams, Luke Killer, Sulecki, Akavov. I mean, you know, now he has a mandatory, okay? A mandatory right now against Janibek, okay? And if I'm not mistaken, right here, a purse bid is scheduled for January 14th versus Janibek by Top Rank. So Demetrius Andrade, once again, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, Janibek, his mandatory by Top Rank, it's going to go to purse bid or whatever. They're talking about moving up Demetrius Andrade, that he may move up to 168. And everybody knows the story. All these names, they're just not fighting each other at 160. And that's freaking sad. Whatever the reason may be, I mean, it's just been shown that Demetrius Andrade hasn't fought any notable competition names for, it seems like, his whole freaking career. That's the sad part, ladies and gentlemen. And how did he get that WBO belt? You know, you read the article there, and, you know, he fought, it was a vacant belt, and he fought some guy that, you know, another mediocre name. I just say it with all due respect, okay? It may be, man, that Demetrius Andrade fights this mandatory, Janibek, and then moves up to 168, and I think that would be best for Demetrius Andrade. Now, why does this kind of, you know, relate to Keith Thurman? And I think it's just sad, because let me just finish that. You know, Demetrius Andrade, Charlo thing, you know, Demetrius Andrade, you know, probably not even going to fight Jaime Munguia at least. I mean, you know, I don't know, man. Whatever, it sucks. He's going to leave, you know, 160 maybe, most likely, or he may, according to Hearn, he might. And he hasn't really fought anybody at 160. And I say it with all the respect, with all the names he's fought, okay? So 168, if I'm not mistaken, that article talks about him fighting a mandatory, and I'm assuming, being a mandatory, for the I think the WBO belt at 168. So, I mean, if he moves up to 168, this is where it relates to Keith Thurman to a certain degree, because Keith Thurman is coming out of nowhere all of a sudden and competing at 147, obviously, and he might mix it up against all these top champs, and, he might spoil the Spence and Bud possible fight for 2023, because I don't think it's going to happen in 2022, but who knows, right? This year, right? But who knows? Who knows? And I broke that down in my last live session. You check it out, okay? Keith might mix it up. Same with Demetrius Andrade. Moving up to 168, if he does, he might mix it up now and compete for one of those belts, which I think is interesting. It's sad, but it's interesting. Sad because you know why. 160, he really didn't do much, okay? And then at 168, it would be interesting because you got those other names at 168. This is just a quick peek, at 168. So these are the names you got there. This would be quite interesting for Demetrius Andrade to compete against these guys. The top. You got Benavidez, you got Plant, Sanders, right? Durrell, Ryder. If I'm not mistaken, Jacobs and Ryder, they're probably going to fight from what I know. I don't really know if it's official or not, but, they're in talks at least or something. Jacobs and Ryder, interesting fight right there. You got Lemieux, but he's scheduled to fight, Benavidez at least. And obviously Canelo, if I'm not mistaken, he's going to vacate. You go check that video out that I pushed several days ago. Contemplating and thinking that, I think Canelo's going to vacate all these. So if that's the case, this is what I'm getting at. If Demetrius Andrade moves up, he would be challenging and competing these guys. Maybe WBO up here, maybe come mandatory. I don't know if that's vacant. Probably fight Zach Parker. I don't know. These are vacant right here. He'll move up and fight somebody. So what do you guys think about all this? I think it would be interesting and maybe the best bet for Demetrius Andrade to move up because he ain't fighting anybody at 160 anyways, and I think it's freaking sad. Maybe Demetrius Andrade has another 2 good fights after this mandatory Janibek if it even goes through, right? If they even fight. Moving up to 168, having 2 good fights, and he's gone with his career. He's done. Probably just finished his career, man. I mean, I don't know. It's a sad thing. It's a sad thing, and it's a great disappointment, in my humble opinion, concerning Demetrius Andrade's career. You see, but he can mix it up and make it interesting at 168. That's what I get from it. That's what I get out of it. And I wish the best for both these guys, So what do you think, man? Do you think that Demetrius Andrade, moving up to 168 will mix it up and make it more interesting, maybe compete with the top? It's a possibility. Obviously, Hearn says a lot of things. All these promoters say a lot of things, and sometimes they don't even happen. So whatever. But Hearn is saying it, and I'm interested in it. I'm really interested in it. We'll see what happens. Do you think Keith is going to fight 3 times this year? We'll see, man. Go ahead and chat. Put it in the chat right there. Post it up there. Playback family, definitely comment in the comment section. What do you think about all this information, that we're seeing today and these days for 2022? We'll see what happens, man, for both these fighters. Renee Boxing platform is to discuss, critique, analyze, to talk about sport of boxing, level-headed, mature, coherent fashion. Definitely go ahead and like it up. Hit the notification bell, man. If you're new, if you love the sport of boxing, this is the place for you. Subscribe, share, definitely, because we're growing. Renee Boxing, peace out, fam.